Do you think it is safe for a married couple to go out and vent to the opposite sex?
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Pillow Talk. I am your host, Taisha, and I'm here with my lovely husband and co-host.
What's going on, everybody? We're here for episode 4.
Episode number 4.
We've got some special guests up in the house on the couch.
On the couch.
They're on the couch tonight.
Yes, they are.
I'm glad that they're here with us tonight.
We're happy to have them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, who do we have tonight on the couch?
We have the Grants. Hey, Grants, introduce yourselves.
Hey, I know me. Brother Jamal Grant. It's my wife, my beautiful wife, Julie Grant. And thank you for having us on your show.
Oh, thank you guys for coming. We are so excited to have you. What is our topic tonight, honey?
So our topic tonight is going to be simply this: the sacred circle, right? Who belongs in the circle of a married couple? How wide that circle should be, how small the circle should be, and we're going to be discussing things in the nature of trust and secrets and things of that nature within that circle. So I think that this would be one of those very in-depth discussions, sizzled with a couple laughter and fun in between.
And some cayenne pepper.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. It's gonna be hot and spicy. So let's not look at it as one of those. Oh, here we go again. No, it's not a here we go again. It's what it should be and how it should be. The truth. So,
all right,
here we go. Did you guys introduce yourselves already?
Yes, we did.
Did you introduce your wife already?
I did.
Because this is part of the circle. Anybody else?
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So she find out, man, you got living foil alone.
I'm just making sure that we're all on the same page in our circle. All right, so we my wife and I were discussing about circles, and I remember I went to a marriage retreat, and it was a discussion that we had with the person who was hosting the retreat. And one of the things that he did was he drew a circle. It was a tiny dot, a really small dot. And then he went around with these other circles around that dot, another circle, and then another circle, and he made this really big circle. And then he looked at us and goes, in the middle is you and your wife. And then he was like, around that is your children. And then around that, it was another big circle around that.
Like your extended family.
Nah, he said those are your in-laws.
Well, they extended. Well, your in-laws.
Nah, they're your in-laws. Right?
Okay.
Because, it's that it had a wider band. And he says your in-laws need to be at least 6 miles in circumference to your small circle.
6 miles.
Right? Yeah. 6 miles. Like that means they don't have no business inside your bedroom.
Sure.
No business inside your circle.
Yeah.
And then it went from that to like your extended family, like your cousins and all them other folks. They were right. They were even bigger and wider. Right, about 12 miles, just double the in-laws.
That's about right.
And then quadruple that were your friends. Those people on the outside world, they have no business even seeing your circle. Right?
That's about right.
Right, your circle is in the sanctity of your bedroom. So, I know that this is something that Taisha and I was talking about. We were like, Julie and Jamal will be the best person for this discussion. Yes. But why is it that they're the best persons or the best couples for this discussion?
Because I think they understand the importance of that circle. And so I wanted to have them on to have this dialogue because I think we share some of the same views, on the importance of that circle. But I also wanted to get into some of these additional conversations we're going to have this evening. Yes, I did.
What are your thoughts on that?
Sacred circle. When it comes to the sacred circle, I do agree with that. that little dot, it should just be you and your wife, right? And everything out. One of the things I've learned is it should only really be you, your wife, and God in that circle. And it stops a lot of things, a lot of problems, a lot of headaches. Because if everybody else, like you said, that in-law or that cousin, all of that is in that circle, then you have a lot of problems. And whereas a marriage that could last for 20-something years may last for maybe 2 years, if that. There's all of them coming in there. So that sacred circle is very valuable because, and even in terms of your children, because they'll have their own opinions, their own stuff, and they're not going to see it in the way that you're going to see it. It's just the two of y'all. And it's not all of this extra stuff that's coming or extra baggage that's coming in there. So I feel like it's very important to have that piece. Me and him. And it's that time also to bond and get close. Like you, okay, just y'all two. That's how it was before you had children, right? So it's just the two. And I remember me and Ty was having a conversation a while back, and it kind of stuck to me. And it was, she said, yo, when my children are gone, we're still going to be me and my husband. So why not preserve that sacredness right now?
That intimacy, yeah.
That's right. I totally agree with that. Because early on, before we knew Christ and came into Christ,
It's BC?
BC days, before Christ, BC days.
BCD?
My BC days, and when we were in the world, we didn't know better. It was times where I brought my mother into our beef, and I had to learn quick. So now we make up. Now my mom's so mad at her because what I shared with my mother, and when I came into this truth, it showed me like, okay, now I see why God is saying this, because and God brought me back to those times where, I wasn't trying to make out to be the bad guy, but when you don't know better, you're always looking for the form of alliances, which are, when you're having a disagreement with somebody, especially your significant other. You want to be right, she wants to be right, and you look for somebody
You want somebody
To agree with you.
you want somebody to be on your side.
Yeah.
You want to form alliances, And so I had to learn very quick when we came to this message, especially when we first put the book Adventist Home. It was a blessing like no other. Especially chapter 27, about reading about the family circle, it was very, very detrimental.
Detrimental, you mean it was very...
Very detrimental. But it was very, all jokes aside, but it was very...
It opened our eyes to a lot of
it was an eye opener.
things that we did when we were of the world in allowing every single person to come in. And so the whole Adventist home in general it is, but that sacred circle, when it hit, I was like, okay. I did that. No, I didn't do that, but that still hurts. And that goes there. So even in terms of the joking and jesting too, right? Jamal's a big jokester, right? And so
Jovial kind of guy.
yeah, yes. And so before we came into the faith, Jamal would make a lot of jokes, and anybody would be the coach.
Whoever is the roasting, whoever needs roasting at that moment,
We're gonna get it.
Yeah, and so, but it was that's just who he was. And at the time when we first got with each other, I didn't like it, but then I didn't know how to express it. And so when we came into the faith and then we read that, I was like, Adventist Home, it was like, okay, thank you, Lord.
Feel like you know.
But I read it over, like we were reading it, and I was like, oh, stop that, read it again. Read that again, what did it say?
So wait. I know my wife wants to get into some really, hard questions, but I just want to know, what was it that you were reading that she was like, read that again? Because it has to be something like the joking part.
Yeah.
So the joking part that says, let me so I can remember. The joking part that says,
Do not make that. She
do not not make fun, but do not
Have your spouse be
The laughing.
the
laughing
laugh
stock.
stock or
Yeah.
the butt of
but the joke.
of a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it used to be like that a lot for years with me and Jamal, right? And you shove it off, but it's like, oh,
You don't realize till
Yeah.
after it happens so much that it actually bothered you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And so when he read that, I was like, read it again. What did he say? Read that again. Let's read it again.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Get you back to the elementary.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that because I think maybe not the jokes, but maybe even how we talk to each other in public. I know, like, if I feel or if I felt like I wasn't heard, then I would. And I don't know if making a scene is the right thing to say.
In the scene with a pocket full of green.
Yeah. I would express myself maybe not in a negative way to let him know I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And it could be elevating my voice, or it could be the back and forth banter we're having in front of people.
Yeah.
You know, because like you were mentioning before, Jamal, like you would have your mom involved and then you two would make up and then she'd just be mad still. I think about it, if I'm having this exchange with my husband in front of people, then in their mind and in their thoughts, they're going to be like, oh, so this is how she talks to him, or whatever the case may be. And it may not be that, but I was maybe so frustrated that I even couldn't articulate myself at that time. So we just need to be very mindful of how we interact with each other and what we say, you know.
In our circle.
In our circle. Because even now, I think, and we were just talking about this the other day too, like, my mother-in-law is not letting him come to the house and stay if we have a problem. She's going to be like, go home. You know what I mean? And my mom, I think she would say the same thing too. You know, they don't meddle, which is great. We have parents that don't meddle. And I think that's helped us grow and mature too. Because they're not involved and we're not taking our problems to them, right? We're learning how to, as we say with the youth now, they have to learn how to cope.
Yeah.
It's teaching us to be adults and cope with the ever-changing, you know, adversities that we're having in our relationship. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I want to say, a while ago, because on my platform, I talked about marriages in the past, and I remember not too long ago, I watched a podcast. Actually, it was with a gentleman and me and you, Larry. We were just talking about it today. Yes, with that gentleman. He said when he got married, he told his wife to name 5 people who would get into a fight.
Yes.
Name 5 people that you can call who's not going to be on your side.
Right.
And I got to name 5 people who, if we get into a disagreement, that's not
My
gonna be on
wife
my
and I,
side.
we start dating, and all of a sudden we start having fights. And after we fought, she would always come back a little bit weird. I'm like, huh, interesting. I said, so let me ask you a question. She said, what's that? I said, say we're married. She said, we have a terrible fight. Who are the 5 people you're going to call? So she gives me the names. I said, okay. I said, you call these 5 people, guess who they're going to defend? She said, who? I said, you. I said, let me tell you who my 5 are. My dad, Dudley, Bill, and I gave the 5 minutes. I said, if I call these guys, guess who they're defending? You. I said, in order for marriage to work, the 5 people I call when I'm pissed off, they have to defend you. And the 5 people you call, they have to defend who? Me. Wow. Which family should have said what? Listen, guys, you guys go make it work. That man works hard. That man's hey, look at your wife. She cooks. She takes care of the kids.
There are things bigger than this.
Exactly.
Yeah, they give you context.
Yes, so that was the one thing. And then she went and got their 5 and said, okay, now I'm comfortable.
I wish I'd known that early on in our marriage. That would really help us early on in our marriage.
Yeah, that Pat David clip. I saw that and I shared it with my wife because I was like, this is something that basically we can talk that a whole lot. I think with men, we don't really have a circle per se that we can go to after we fought with our wives. We don't normally have a circle. There's some guys that have guy friends that they can go to. There's some guys that have guy friends they don't trust to go to.
That's right.
They could be with friends with them 20 years ago, but they're not going to go to there and talk about their wife. Where women are different. Women have that one girl or their mother that they can kind of go to, and they call it talk therapy. Like women can shed that and then let it go and kind of walk away with their emotions balanced, I guess, so to speak.
But I also think you have discretion in that, because in that same clip you're talking about, Jamal, the wife had 5 people she could call, but he only had like 3. Right? And it made me think, also do some like self-evaluation, like who is it that I would call? And I couldn't even count 5.
I can't even.
You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. I mean, you know, I know ultimately we're supposed to take our grievances to the Lord, but he does have people here to help us through different things. And I think it's okay to, my opinion is, it's okay to discuss certain things with other married people. Like, I'm not gonna go to a single person and be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I look for people who have been married for a while, most times longer than we have, to give some advice about something like that. And it's not always, even in that case, even not making my husband out to be a tyrant as I'm having this discussion either. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I do have to express something or talk about something, not putting him in a light that's negative, no matter how angry, you know, we could become at each other.
I think advice is great to get when there's no war at all. Right? That's the best time to get advice, because you're not looking for something for that moment.
Yeah.
Right? Like you in a moment where you're like, I'm upset and this and the third, and I don't want to hear something that's gonna get me, 1, off my ledge, and 2, that's gonna actually either better myself or better the situation. But it's better to get the advice when there's no war, so that when there is the war, the advice that you got can be now, you know, activated and go, okay, this is what was told me back 10 years ago.
I would. So my perception on that is, that sounds great. I can't say that that's gonna work for me, because although we might not necessarily be in a war, a situation has arose, right? So if I need, and it may not just even be advice, it may just be me venting, you know, and not really asking for advice. But I would say, and typically if I had to, none of the people are on my side. I would just let you know. They're never on my side, because they always get me to think about the other side, which would be his, right? So although I think that is a good suggestion, I don't know that having that upfront advice helps in the situation. Now, you guys might have another thought process about that, but for me, I don't know that it would help me before I actually got into something. Because what am I asking for advice on beforehand? You know, if there's no issue, it's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if there's no issue, why do I need to fix something that doesn't have an issue? It's only when there's an issue do I want some type of advice, you know.
I normally go to the old school way.
Me, I'm gonna go back in terms of the parents part, right? So 10, 12 years ago, Jamal and I separated. We're on the verge of divorce. Didn't have what we have right now with the Lord. And one thing I had to recognize, and everybody's different, I had to recognize the type of parents I have, right? And so it's one thing if you have a parent that's going to take your side, and then you have one that will give you the right advice when you're going through stuff. I knew mine would take my side. So I didn't tell them anything about what was going on, because I didn't want a pity party, right? And so every situation is different. If you want a pity party, go to that parent that's going to take your side. If you want someone that's just going to tell you this is what it is, go to the, go for it. So up to the day like today, my mother never knew that me and Jamal ever went through what we went through.
Wow.
And so...
And that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so, and then coming into the faith, I had a lot of trust issues. So it was very hard to trust anybody to tell my problems, right? Because the one person I told my problem when I just came into the faith, they went back and said something to Jamal. And if somebody, I always had a man, and I think it's more of a pride thing that I have to overcome. Once that person loses my trust, that's it for me.
That's it.
I'm like, and that, so my circle is so small, I can't even pick it on the one hand. I just go straight to God. That's all I do. And for me, sometimes it could be a little hard because you don't have somebody to vent to that will talk back to you. But at the same time, I've learned to just go straight to God because I don't have any. And even then, like how you were saying, Ty, even when you would speak to somebody, you still have to be careful that you have to question, should I say that? Should I not say that? Is that gonna come back? Because of my experience, I can't speak for everybody else, but my experience, when I told that one person and it went back to Jamal and he was screwed a completely different way, I'm like, okay. So my guards are always up. So I'm always, okay, I'm just gonna go in the closet, I'm just gonna talk to God, I'm just gonna wait for it and go through whatever I gotta go through and go from there. Is it a good, healthy thing? I don't know. But because I know from my trust issues, I can't trust anybody because of that. So every situation, you have to kind of balance it out. You have to look at, you know who you can talk to. That person is going to give you, okay, you know what, you were wrong. And that's the kind of advice I want. I don't want the pity party. No, Julie, you were wrong. And that's what I try to give to everybody.
Well, can you explain what a pity party is, though?
A pity party is like, oh no, you're right. He wrong. You know, you need to be like, and they try
somebody who's on your side.
on my side.
And no matter what happens.
No matter what. Like, okay, no, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And when I do it to give people marriage counseling and they come to me, I'm always like, when you say, well, I divert the situation. What could have you done?
What could you have done to me?
In terms of him? Let's talk about him. Because everybody have their fault, but what could you have done not to do there? And so that's where mine is coming from.
I'm gonna say, there's where, in times past, we counseled a lot of people while we were in the church. This is a lot for years. Other marriage couples, and one thing that me and Julie never did was take sides. We had to look from the lens of how God would judge it, not the lens of, okay, you my boy, or you my brother, or you my sister, or you. No,
and that's a hard thing to do.
It's very hard to do. And there's even times with family or friends that we counsel, they would get upset with us because we're not taking their side. Because we're telling them, according to what God says, that they were wrong. Oh, okay, you should never did that. Or you should never said that. How would you handle it? Because that's how God chastises us. All right, Jamal, I saw what your wife did, but what could you have done? True. You didn't have to say that back to her. You didn't have to do this. You could have came in the room and prayed and talked to me. You could. That the same way. That's how God talks to us. He chastises us like that. So that's the kind of way we kind of see it. We didn't. Well, if you come to us, we're not going to. If you don't want the truth, then don't come to us. If you're looking for one of the full alliances, we're not the people to come to. And that's what we learned over the years, especially after reading at home, and just reading the scriptures. I mean, just the way God does things. When you make just the way God does things, and He says in the Word of God to judge righteously. He didn't say judge the people. He says judge the situation, judge the sin. Okay, and so that's what we gotta look at. What is the sin here? Okay, I know that you did that. I know you said that, but what have you done? Okay, you didn't have to respond. The reason why I know that is because there's been times where somebody at our job or somebody in our family did something to us, we laugh. You know what? Usually, I'll let you get to it. Today, I ain't gonna let you. That's proof in the pudding that we allow people to get us upset. Well, let me rephrase that. I can't make Julie angry. I can call her every name in the book, but I can't make her angry. She allows me. She allows me to make her angry. Okay, that's a decision. How many times that we done forgave somebody in the midst of them cussing us out? We like, you know what? Whether we were in the world or in the church, we're like, well, you know what? You got that. You got that. And it's still going because that's proof that they can't make us angry. Especially when they're speaking lies and saying things that if someone's a lie, people want to get upset about it. People get upset about when it's the truth. That's when they want to get angry.
Yes, I agree with that.
And also the sacred circle, what I love about it is that I can come in on a long day, if I have anything, and I can say, I know that I can just let go and talk with just Jamal. And vice versa with him. You tell everything that's on your heart, but you have to trust that person too. Because if you don't trust that person, you're not gonna tell what's on your heart. Like it becomes easier to know that outside of God, there's one person that you can talk to, really that go and talk to. Sometimes I feel like I say too much sometimes, and I'm like, she don't want that. But I'm like, it's my husband, so why not? Who else to say it to? So
I'm like, girl.
So let me ask this question, because my wife used the word vent. Who do you think? Do you think it is safe for a married couple to go out and vent to the opposite sex?
okay, you're talking about the male going to female?
Male going to female, female going to male.
No.
Do you think that it is safe? No. We use the word vent, right? We're venting. Because go ahead. I just want to know what you guys' thoughts.
No, I don't think it's safe.
Can you use the microphone?
I don't think it's safe if I'm going through something to go vent to another man about my husband.
Look, I didn't say about your husband. Now you do that one in there. I can ask about your husband.
But-
I just said, is it okay for a married person to vent? I didn't say to vent about your husband or your wife, just to vent
About anything.
About anything. You're going through something or whatever you have. You're dealing with some things. Do you think it's okay to vent to a person who's of the opposite sex? Yeah, I'm just saying, be very careful how you answer your question.
Why? You got
It depends on what you're venting about.
Exactly.
I just don't feel like I would still go over to the opposite sex to do it.
Okay.
And not even then in venting, yeah, my girl, yeah, but not the opposite sex. Yeah. Because people gonna take something different.
Now, what you just said, I'm gonna come back to that. Go ahead, Jamal.
Well, like Julie said, it all depends. Like it was, if you fell down the stairs because it was ice on the stairs and you hurt.
You're not venting, man.
Hold on. You know what I'm saying? You don't hurt. That's why I said it all depends on the circumstances. What are you venting about? Now, if you're venting about relationships, I wouldn't do that. If it was money issues, I wouldn't do that. But if it's something that happened, hey, listen, man, hey, listen, man, I lost my keys, man. I can't believe I lost my keys. Or once I lost my wallet. I don't think it's a problem if it's a sister right there, the tonic right there. I'm like, I cannot believe I lost my wallet. Oh, I'm so upset I lost my wallet because I got to be here and I don't even have my wallet, I don't have my money. That's venting. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, there's something wrong, anything wrong with me venting to Ty about losing my wallet. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a big thing, but if I'm like, yeah, Ty, man, my wife, man, me and her gets out to this big block now, I shouldn't be doing that. So I would say it depends on what you're venting about. That's what I would say.
Okay. Let me see what my wife got to say.
So I also agree it depends, and I have vented to a friend of mine that he actually knows about different things, and typically I'm venting him about like work. We used to work together, so I'm like, man, we going back and forth, and I've also had the opposite sex vent to me, but I don't hold that from him. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily. I agree that it depends on what you're venting about. You know what I mean? Because what you do is you want, again, it goes back to also what Julie said about trust. If I don't trust you, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not saying nothing to you. If I do trust you, I may say something to you under the auspices that I know that is not going to be, because I think the fear is that, as Julie was mentioning too, the fear is that if I trust you with a piece of information, it could be the little piece, and I've done this to people before, to be honest with you, like I'll just say something to see if it actually gets back. And if it gets back, I automatically know I can't trust you. And that might be wrong because I'm like secretly, I'm doing it in secret. The person that I'm actually doing it to may not actually know I'm doing that. But I think we've all had trust issues. And because that sacred circle is so small and it's only you and your husband and God, I mean, really, those are the three persons, right, that should be dealing with it. And sometimes you expand, unfortunately, what should stay in that circle out to whichever layer of the circle that you're going to, based on how you trust the person. So I mean, so going back to answering the question, I think it depends also on what's being vented.
Okay. So the thing about it is, the reason why I asked that question is because there's some things that we do unknowingly, and there's some things that we have time to think about and to answer knowingly that what we just done or what we could have done was wrong or right. There are times that we start venting off the fly. We don't purposely call somebody, I'm going to go vent to this person. You're talking to this person and the person kind of triggers something in your head where you start talking about certain things. Yeah. So it's not the fact that you're purposely doing things.
Or it could be.
It could just be that it just kind of flowed with the conversation and you're in it. Right? You're in it. Whether it be about your husband, whether it be about your friend, you're in it because you're relating, it's relatable to what the person is dealing with.
That's right.
Right? So there are times that it happens. That's why I said we have to be very careful on how we answer the questions because we can really just jump right in and go, no, it's wrong. There are times where it's relatable to a certain person's situation that you share, hey, here's my experience. Right? Or whatever the case may be. So we kind of get into that sometimes, and I don't necessarily think it's all the way wrong. I think there are aspects to it.
That's right.
I think that if I'm purposely calling Jill to tell Jill about my wife,
I'm gonna cut her.
And how and what my wife
Jill,
is doing.
if Larry calls you, don't pick up the phone.
If I purposely do that, then I'm in the wrong, right? Because now I'm actually seeking Jill's
Advice?
not advice, no.
Approval,
I'm looking for her empathy, and I'm looking for her to sympathize, right? And that's where the problem is. But I think here's the worst part. Me calling Jill is not as bad as me telling Jack as well. Because, you see, Jack's been looking at my wife for the past 15 years, right? Where Jill is not, but Jack is.
Yeah.
So I can go tell Jack thinking that it's cool. My wife, I told Jack about the situation, blah, 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 blah. And Jack has been writing things down in the back of his mind,
Put their hands on that.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that the purpose for the sacred circle is just that, right? We have to be careful on, whether or not are we making the right decisions in venting to a person, whether it's about shopping or whatever, or are we making the right decision about who we vent to? Because me venting to my mom ain't gonna help me at all. Fefe Nicholas is one of those kind of persons that, look, you better tie your waist tight. You got yourself into a marriage that you gotta, you better tie your waist tight. Do what you have to do to make it work. And her mom is the same way. I remember one time we were really, man, there was flame between us. There was fire between us. And we moved to her mom's house, and her mom can feel the tension. And when she came to me, she's like, whatever y'all problem is, you better fix it. Whatever y'all's problem is, y'all better fix it. This is ridiculous. And I was like, Ma, it's her. She even one of these to be fixing it. She's like, whatever. Whatever. And she walked away. And I was just like, yeah, she's right. You know what I'm saying? She ain't getting involved, but the whole thing is like, this is ridiculous. Y'all walking around this house acting like y'all don't even know each other, but y'all come to me like all of a sudden y'all know me. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to be very careful about those things.
And I agree with that. And that's why I said for me, I can answer that because a lot of people have come to vent to me about stuff. And I've come to the point where I can share with them my experiences, but because I've done it so many times, I have done it to the point where I'm never having his character dismantled in any kind of way. So he's like, you kept police. And I'm the type of person, Jamante, I love to listen. I will, hey, you listen, and then I will talk. And that's very, very helpful. And sometimes when you talk in what you're not hearing, and it's so easy to say the wrong thing and give the wrong advice. Right? So I'm like, listen, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm praying in my mind. What do I say to that person about my experience? But do not in any way assassinate my husband's character, because I may understand what they're going through because I went through it, but don't assassinate. And he always gives me the words.
Yeah, you don't want to assassinate your husband or your wife's character at all in any situation.
Yeah. This probably, listen to what Julie says, I agree. There's been times where people vented to me, and I also agree with Larry, because there's sometimes you're entering a conversation, it's like one thing would trigger, and you just go into the state, sometimes even realizing it. So I do agree with that. I've done that at times, but the family circle has to be protected, and it's not. I think today in our generation, even in the church, it's not protected enough, because we got people in the church. Marriage is like divorce in the church is on an all-time high, more than the world now. And it's like, you're meeting people in the church, and I've been in the church 10 years, and I've met so many people who were married 4, 5, 6 times. I'm like, well, what did the Bible say?
Third marriage.
Yeah, third marriage. I always say, listen, you've been married 3, 4, 5 times. It ain't them, it's you.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You might be by yourself.
You the reason.
Yeah, you the reason. And it goes back. It goes back to the woman who Jesus says,
No, it ain't your husband.
why she wasn't married to him, because Jesus is like, you're looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
But Jesus, this is why, now I see why, this is why we need Jesus. Jesus said, you need to find me, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And, some people,
You know what? I will say this, man. There are a lot of people that just need Jesus as their husband. Men and women. Men and women.
Some people just don't need to be married.
Right.
Some people, if you've been married 4 or 5 times and you still by yourself, you don't really be married. And you should be married to the Lord, and and don't be giving nobody else no marital advice.
just leave it at that, man.
Leave it at that, man.
Don't even date.
I have a question. So, as we understand that initial circle, that dot, is God, you and your spouse. Let's say, moms, wives, we're cooking dinner, and it's time for everybody to eat. Who gets fed first?
I think the husband should. Because if you follow in that line, I think the husband should. And then the children, and whoever else after that. If you follow in that second line, because it's you and him first, and then outside of that, it's your children. And outside of that, then it's to your goals. So,
I find that is a very
controversial.
controversial topic, because you have people that say, oh no, if my kids are hungry, I'm gonna feed them. And although they might be hungry, daddy provides and professes. He protects. And he gonna need to eat first. Now, some of y'all may not like what I'm saying, and that's okay. That's just the order of how it was designed.
You used the word order.
Gospel order.
And I think in today's society, today's culture, order is not something that is relatable to some. Order is not something that is viable for some, because I believe and I see that there's a rebellion against order, right? And because, I mean, just look around you. People don't want, the chaos is what they call order. So when you're looking at just order, what you just said, you're gonna have the feminists of the world, you're gonna have the isms of the world, the alphabetisms of the world, be like, what is she talking about? Because, you know, we lean in on women, and women are, you know, I believe that if you're in a household, how can you say the man gets fed first if I live in a household
With no man?
Right.
Well then, I mean, but that would be common sense. I mean, if it's you,
No.
But listen. So if I'm a single parent, and there's a single female parent,
Right.
and there's no man in the household, well, he ain't gonna be able to eat because there's no man in the household.
No. Let me go ahead and rephrase that.
Okay, thank you.
You see, because it's not a man in the household, it's the other, like another female in the household.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying now? Okay, it's not that I'm lacking a man in the household. No, who I got, it's not a man in the household.
So then you have to now expand your circle.
What does that mean?
So the sacred circle is husband and wife and God, and then the next circle out is the children. Then you have to now expand the circle, meaning because there's not a husband and a wife in the circle, then the kids get to eat.
So you just disregard the other person, the adult in the room.
So he's talking about in terms of that other, right?
Right.
He's talking about where in society right now you have, okay, woman and woman, one's the husband, one's the wife.
But we don't know which one.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Because it's two.
Right.
Same thing, but they're saying one is woman, one is husband, one is. they're
Or
saying it.
whatever day that is.
Yes.
Well, and that's what I mean by the order, right? Because in that sacred circle, God has the order.
Right.
Okay. So if that order is not met in that household, then you have to expand your circle. Meaning, maybe expand is not the right word. You need to go into your next circle, which is your children. So there's no male in that circle.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the man thing. I'm totally there.
And maybe I'm just missing the point of what you're saying.
No.
Oh, okay.
What I'm doing is I'm just kind of throwing in the monkey wrench that you will get because of what you said. Right? Go ahead, Jamal.
I would say this. There is order in the homes. It is not the gospel order in the home. And this is the problem. When you look at the sanctuary, you know, the furniture was changed around. And this is what we're seeing. This is the order we're seeing. You know, we're seeing the beast, the woman, the children, the man last, and get God out of the picture, out of the equation. That's what we're seeing. You know, so you know, today with the isms, you're seeing the sisters saying, I don't need a man. Meaning that music saying, I don't need a man. I'm an independent woman. I get my own money. I got my own job, take care of my own kids. I don't need nothing from that man. That was never the gospel order. Oh, we can't find a good man out there. Well,
Because you didn't need a man.
well, you said you didn't need a man.
Right.
Okay? Because you can do X, Y, and Z. And he can do for you. What can he do for me?
You can do battle by yourself.
Exactly. So this is what Satan has created. This is the furniture that was moved around in the sanctuary, and now we're seeing it in its, you know what I'm saying, in its form. Playing out in its form right now, and this is what we're seeing, where the man was the head of the home, you know, and this is why we have even the ones who are married. We're seeing a lot of women that say, "Oh, I said a lot." Today, a woman who don't want to submit to their husbands. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, he may be the head, but I'm the neck. Well, hold on, the neck controls the head, right? And so, but that's not the order God gave. God says, no, the man is the head of the home. Now, the head don't mean, oh, when I get home, you better have my shoes ready. Oh, when I get home, you better have my, no, that's not what God said.
Right.
That's not what God said, but see, that's the mindset that they have. And only man don't be telling them what to do. No, I know sisters personally in the church who says, let her need to fix their own plates. Hold on. And she went both ways. You know, I fix my wife's plate all the time. But she also fixes my plate all the time too. You know, if she's doing something, man, you want something to eat? Yeah, are you ready to eat yet? That, if she's busy doing whatever she's doing, I'm gonna make her a plate. Sometimes I'll cook dinner. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
But
You cook dinner, Jamal?
oh, girl, no, girl.
That's nice.
No, nah, but and that's the problem, Larry, in Tyler. Like the gospel order has been changed.
Yeah.
Satan he moved the furniture around. God's son moved the furniture back around. And when you talk about this subject, a lot of women, I say, oh, I want to throw it out there. They get upset about it. Mm-hmm. They get upset about this because of those isms.
Yeah.
It's them isms, it's them isms.
You know who spoke about the isms?
Yeah.
Man, this
male part too.
huh?
Also, in terms of the male part too, the men also, okay, well,
They home all day.
the home all day,
want children.
and they don't want to get a job.
Well, they sitting on the couch.
And it's sitting on the couch playing the video game all day
smoking weed.
and all of that. And it's still they'll have the mentality, oh, my food better be ready when you come home, or this better be that. And they ain't doing anything with the children, and you still coming in. So it's like it goes both ways.
Household
On the end, the household is
Again.
hopefully messed up either way. So
There is-
it is in both sectors there. Or when I'm the priest of the home, you need to get my shoe, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. So it's on both ends. Where we were having that conversation this week. It's like, hold up, as a man, if you come in and the wife got to do X, Y, and Z, but you ain't doing anything before you were with me, wasn't you cooking for yourself? Wasn't you taking care of yourself? Vice versa with the woman.
It's called
When you
codependency.
met me, like you met me, you were cooking, you were out there working, but now because I come in as a man in the house, then you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that, and all of a sudden you turn into a different crippled person because the man came in there. So it has to be a balance that Adventist Home says each has to help each other. They even said like washing dishes is a salvational issue. If your wife comes home, or if your wife is home, if your wife is home
Yeah.
all day with the children, and she asks you to wash the dishes and you get an attitude, that's a salvational issue, right? So again,
I want to go to heaven. I wash the dishes when she asks me.
No, but it is.
Only
Yeah.
when I ask him.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that on the show. We're going to commercial. Real quick.
Nah, but that goes back to like I said, the isms. All the isms were created by the devil, and like you said, like the roles have been reversed. Now the men are home. They're watching the children. They're doing what they're doing, and the woman, she's at work. She's paying all the bills. She's she's the breadwinner. In certain situations, some situations is like that. Like she may make more money than, but again, this all started with the wars. With the wars back in the day when all the men were just been fighting the wars. All the men would go overseas and fight, and then the women were home with the children. Guess what? While the men were away, they put the women into the factories. They're making bullets, and they're making guns.
You're talking about the World War.
Yeah, World War. This is how feminism came in. And so now when the war's over, the men come home, they have no jobs because the women are more productive now. That was Satan's plan to get the woman out of the home because it was to disrupt the structure of the home.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're saying. The structure of the home is disrupted. So now you got the men working. Then you lose rent control.
Yeah.
You get all these slumlords.
Yeah.
They did that purposely. Get rid of the rent control. So now the rent's sky high, even for a dump. You're paying $2,000 for a 3-bedroom and the house is falling apart. But guess what? Somebody got to pay that rent. Husband, he ain't making enough money. So guess what? Mama got to go to work now. So, and guess what? Now you get the system raising your children. So now your children come home and they're curious with these isms. Now they're curious about a girl kissing a girl. Now they're curious about a boy kissing a boy. Now they're curious. Because why? Because Satan changed the furniture around. Now the children are being raised by the system, and we already know who controls the system.
Right, so you mean the system now is inside the circle?
Now the circle
is broken.
So now the parents, we can't discipline our children no more.
Yeah, the circle is broken.
It's broken because the system says if you touch that child, you're gonna go to jail. But guess what? But that same child killed that very person who said you can't touch that child and kill one of their relatives. And I didn't really lock my child up for the person don't want me to jail. You see how it works?
So basically, as it stands right now, we have to be able to, as couples, get closer to God to keep those circles tight.
Yes.
Because the whole point is that Satan wants to enter into the circle to destroy the family circle. Once he destroys the family circle, then he destroys the church. Once he destroys the church, then he destroys the community. Once he destroys the community, then he destroys the world at large.
That's right.
Right? So that's basically the plan. That's the structure. That is the foundation of his plan. That's the reason why the family circle is so important. It is so integral to, as you said, the sanctuary. It is so integral to the order of heaven, because that's exactly what Satan tried to do in heaven, was destroy the family circle between the Father and the Son.
That's right.
So he wanted to get in between there, and make sure that if he can destroy that, then he's got it all. Right. So if he tried it up there, much less for us. I mean, come on. We have a lot left to go. But anything else, because we're at time now. And make sure. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. So my question is, let's just say you come to a situation where the husband, it's hard for the husband to get a job. He's applying and all of that. But then the wife has to go to work, right? And be the breadwinner while the husband hasn't got a job, right? What would be your advice in terms of, handling that situation? Because sometimes you can see where the woman may get to the point of, okay, well, I'm the breadwinner and I'm doing that, like what Jamal would say.
So she got the pants.
I gotta wear the pants.
Right? Or you can have heard situations where the woman's like, okay, even if I had to step up and do it for temporary now until my husband has to wait until he gets a job, but the money is ours together, right? So he still makes the final decision and respects that. What's your view on that?
I think we've been kind of sort of through that before.
Well, we bounced around like basketball. I mean, it's gonna happen that way.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen that way. I look at my uncle. The man goes between New York and Alaska and all kinds of places, making sure he looks for work to take care of his family. His wife still works, but there are times when you just got to make that extra money for whatever the situation is. So, I don't see anything wrong with that. Here's where I'm gonna answer the question in terms of the pants. Going back to Jamal's point on how this whole thing started with the woman trying to usurp a position, and how the society has allowed it to happen. We had a conversation last week about wearing pants. And I wanted my wife and everybody to understand there's history behind it.
Like 350.
It was the World Wars. It was the World Wars. Because in World War II, when they actually put women to work in those factories, they were coming in with skirts.
That's right.
They were coming with long dresses, as they were accustomed of doing.
Doing heavy labor.
Doing man's labor.
Manual labor.
Man's labor, right? And in terms of doing the man's labor, they were getting hurt because of the steam and all that kind of stuff that was, so they had to wear what they call dungarees. Denim, right? So they started wearing those. That was uniform for them. It wasn't it wasn't what they normally wore at the house or outside in social, gatherings. But they were wearing those dungarees, the man's pants, as uniform when they went to the factory.
Sure.
Fast forward, all of a sudden, there's a picture of a woman with an arm like this. What is she wearing? Overalls, right? She's wearing overalls, and that shows at that point it was the shift where women's suffrage came in and all of the other stuff, that they can now wear the same clothes as men. So now bring that fast forward today, who wears the pants in the house? Right? If the woman is saying, I'm wearing the pants in the house, that means she's head of the household, even though the man is there. Right? She's running things, so to speak. Right? The man lost his pants. He's lost his dungarees. He's lost his, what's the other word? The trousers.
Yeah, and I think that's not, that's a bad thing, because, I mean, like you said, there are times when, it has to happen. Like, there are times when
we go to work, and the intent is not to usurp the husband.
Right.
The intent is to help the household. That's
right.
Totally different.
And still have that level of respect there, because, for instance, if that was a situation we had, and let's say we decided to go out, and my husband's not working, but I'm gonna pay for the meal, right? Nobody has to know that.
Nope.
The waiter won't even know that, because I could slide him the money or the card or whatever under the table, and he could pay for that, because that doesn't take away his manhood, and that's not my job to take away his manhood. If he is doing what he is supposed to be doing, I shouldn't even have to say that a real man is going to continue to try to support his family regardless of the case, and even if the wife has to go and pick up some more work or whatever the case may be, that should never be a source of contention for either of them.
No one knows what's going on inside that circle.
Right.
But this just shows you this conversation, and I'm glad we have this conversation for people to hear this, because look where we went from the wars all the way to where we are. It went so far left. Now the woman is getting another woman. Getting rid of the man. I don't need a man.
I don't need a man.
So we went from that to I don't need a man to now I'm the man now. I'm not gonna get me a woman.
Right.
This is how far left it went.
Yeah.
This is how far left it went. So now we got women saying I'm the head of the relationship, and you see them, they even cut their hair like men, and take testosterone pills, and
some of them got beards.
Beards and
more than I do.
Man,
it's crazy.
But this is how far left it's going. This was the plan. Satan's plan is succeeding, and then when you talk about it, everybody gets an attitude about it. Everybody's upset about it.
Yeah, because again, the order of the day is chaos, right? If you're looking at it from that standpoint, when you're like, oh, you know what, the women are, saying, hey, we don't need a man. Well. 2,000 years ago, a woman who lost her husband had no support. And she was looked upon as you're unworthy to even be around in the social square. So she needed a man. Now it's flipped, where the men are the ones, I see a lot of men, man, they out there pushing the strollers. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can push the stroller all you want, but you know what? Between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., if I see you out there pushing the stroller, we have questions. And I mean, if you're on vacation, that's fine, but if you're not, you need to be having a job and taking care of your household. That's what I see as a man doing the right thing. Now, you have these, what they call stay-at-home pops. I don't know what that really means. I don't know what that looks like. I didn't grow up that way for me to be staying at home, because the innate portion of a man, what's inside of a man, is for a man to work, provide for his family, protect his family, and profess his love to his family. If the woman's out there doing the hard work and the hard lifting, I don't know what kind of gentleman you are. I'm leaving it right there.
Well, Ben said if you put a bunch of women on an island, they said in 50 years, nothing. Wouldn't be one woman that wouldn't exist in 50 years. I say that to say.
How many women you put on the island?
Let's say 100 women. say 1,000 of them, or say 10,000 women. It doesn't matter. Right now, you put them all on the island, it wouldn't last about 50 years. The reason why I'm saying that is because they're saying, a woman saying, I don't need a man. But you put the ones who are all saying they put all of them on that island, they would, not one woman will exist in the next 50 years. Because we need men and women. That's why God created men and women to reproduce here. He said, be fruitful and what?
Multiply.
Only a man and women can do that.
Right.
Yeah, okay, they can get their clone, the machinery and all that.
It ain't gonna be the same.
This is why Jesus about to come back.
They get their buzzers and their buzzards. They gonna be the same.
Wow. The buzzards and the buzzers.
Yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts?
I mean, there's always more that could be discussed.
Of course, there's a lot. I think what we did was just open up a can of worms.
For a part two? For a part two.
Yeah, definitely for a part two.
Yeah, I think you opened up a can of worms, and we're gonna have to revisit because some of these worms are walking out the can. We got nothing to close it up. But it was a very good pleasure to have the Grants, Jamal and Julie, join with us on the couch to discuss the family circle. We want to know, would you like to come back
For part two.
for part
Oh
two?
yeah, we're gonna have to come back. There's still more in that book that we were like, ooh, okay, we need to address. So
Yeah.
definitely a part two.
I wanted to see some of the comments.
Oh, you'll see some of the comments. I can get this stuff out. The thing about it is, I like to look at the comments because the comments then kind of draw me to the next topics that we can always kind of fall back. We can always throw out that there's a lot when it comes to relationships. There's a lot to talk about. So we would not be lacking any subject matter at all. So, but we want to thank you guys for jumping on the couch with us, coming on to Pillow Talk again. Brothers and sisters out there, we would like for you to do one thing for us. Just one thing. Actually, two things. Maybe three.
Three things.
Three things. Okay. What are those three things, baby?
Like, subscribe, and share.
There you go. Like, subscribe, and share. And whenever you see that hits that bottom of the screen, it goes cha-bing. You hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button, so that way you can always get more notifications about the content that we're putting out. We want to thank you for joining us today, tonight, and we'll see you guys on the next
Pillow Talk. Peace.
Peace.